What's up, everybody, and welcome to the HPJP show. I'm one of your hosts, Josh, aka HexxedPhenom.
And I'm JP.
And this is the podcast where JP and I bring random topics of conversation for your amusement. You can catch it every other Saturday at noon Eastern on youtube.com/HexxedPhenom, or you can catch it as a podcast on podcast services around the globe, places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, really any place that you get your podcasts, you can get this show.
Yeah, get your fix now.
And today we're going to be focusing on music. We're going to be talking about our musical taste, some of our favorite bands, and then we're going to be going through a list of all of the albums coming out this year for our mutual favorite music genres.
The albums that we can't wait to get our hands on and or blast our ear holes with.
Exactly. I mean, music is a huge part of our lives. I don't know about you. I mean, I'm sure you're the same way. But I'm almost always listening to music. I have Spotify on literally every device that I own, between my phone, my computer, on my PlayStation. I'm always playing Spotify.
He's going to play some music right now. Shows a copyright strike just get landed on the channel.
Demonetized. If there was Spotify on the Nintendo Switch, I would have it, but there's not.
And just for your convenience, here is the HPJP Spotify playlist. Although I think that'd be a pretty cool idea.
Maybe
we could probably get that to you in the future. But for now, we're gonna just talk about everything and anything music related. So get ready, strap yourselves in. It's gonna be a wild ride.
Yes, it is. But we both of us have very similar music tastes. We're both into rock,
metal.
Hard rock, metal, that kind of big conglomerate of music.
that big ass continent known as rock and metal. Essentially.
Exactly.
Metal is officially the fastest growing genre among listeners.
Sweet.
I'm pretty sure that does not fully account for the underground, because that's a very small percent of anything. But
yeah.
I'm assuming when they did that, it's probably like bands like Slipknot, Avenged Sevenfold, Lamb of God.
Yeah.
Countless bands. I could sit here for an hour alone naming bands. But what would you like to talk about first in terms of music?
Would you want to just list off a couple of our favorite bands and stuff quick?
Man, I have a good amount of favorites.
I mean, I know we
should
can sit here and list off
we could list those.
hundreds of bands that we love. But.
So let's start with our favorite old school band and favorite new school band, which I'm pretty sure the new school band is our same answer, which is probably Avenged Sevenfold, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we love us some Avenged Sevenfold.
Avenged Sevenfold.
And
I've seen them 4 times in the past 5 years, I believe.
I've seen Avenged Sevenfold probably like, god damn, it's at least I think like 12, 13 times I've seen them. Man, every time I swear they just get better and better. Matt got his
You and I were
vocal
supposed to see
cord
them
injury
together on Music Fest 2013 or something like that.
Yep, and then that whole fuckery happened, and I ended up going to the show, and yeah, that was that, and then I had to bring along someone. Oh my god, I don't know how to
That's
describe
a story
it.
for a different time. Definitely.
That's a story for a way different time, but I hate that man with a passion, still do. I wish he was dead, but yeah. So we've seen them quite a few times. Band is really fucking good. I swear every album it just gets better and better. Gets bigger and bigger as well. Matt got the injury to his vocal cords, so unfortunately I got screwed out of seeing them twice last year because of the between Rock Allegiance and between when I went up to Syracuse to hang with John. There was going to be Avenged Sevenfold to rise against, but that got canceled. So we're getting new music. I think a new album from them is due out in 2020.
Yeah, I believe they said they're looking for like spring or summer of 2020,
And I'm assuming we'll get at least one single by the end of the year.
Hopefully,
it would just
it
make
really
sense.
Depends on Matt's condition, but
I heard he's doing pretty good. But yeah, anything else I really fully left out about Avenged Sevenfold? I mean, I got to meet them, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm sure you can get on that too with the Death Bat Nation. Really, honestly, the best way to meet them, because if not, I don't see it happening, because they're a very, very secretive band.
Yeah.
Who's your best or favorite band? I should say your favorite band in terms of oldies, classic band, classic era.
Just off the top of my head, I'd probably go with Metallica.
Very nice choice. Mine is Guns N' Roses, but
Nice.
you know, when it comes to the old school bands, I mean, I listen to shit from the 70s, like Van Halen and Aerosmith. I listen to Motley Crue. I listen to Poison. Then I go into Pantera, Metallica, AC/DC. You know, I'm all over the place. Rat. There's a lot of bands. Kiss.
Yeah.
We could sit here for a while naming them. But yeah, I'd say Guns N' Roses is my favorite old school band.
Yeah. For me, it's definitely like top 3 off the top of my head would definitely, in my opinion, I would say Metallica, Guns N' Roses, and then I'd probably go AC/DC.
Hell yeah. Plus, we got to see Metallica. Got to see them live, and I got to say it is worth every penny. The
That
only
was
regret
awesome.
of the show was no Avenged Sevenfold,
Yeah,
which
oddly-
was
oddly
another
enough.
show that
Yeah.
that we got screwed out of, but likely cause for that, and
Yeah.
at least everybody's all healthy. And there is a Baby Gates. Pretty
Yep.
sick.
That's
So,
awesome.
So what have you been jamming to as of late?
As of late, I mean,
So I know you're all over Spotify, and that could be a never-ending thing with music.
for
which is
me,
great.
a lot of my friends make fun of me for this, but
5 seconds
I
of
do-
summer.
no. What I do with Spotify is, like, whenever I know that there's a new album that comes out, I'll just listen to it, and then I'll just save everything to my existing Spotify playlist. And then I just have every song that I like in one Spotify playlist. Like, I don't separate it by, like maybe like a mix of like 50 just random songs and like multiple different playlists. Like, I have one playlist of just a bunch of music that's like probably almost 2,000 songs deep of just,
Fuck, that's crazy.
there's rock, hard rock, metal, pop rock, punk, some rap, just a bunch of random shit.
Some Tupac.
the
Some
entire
Tupac.
the entire Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy soundtrack is also in that playlist.
You know, I gotta
Like,
admit
just
that
literally
is
any music that I enjoy listening to is in one playlist.
that is a pretty bomb ass soundtrack though for a game, I must say.
It is.
You know, it's interesting. So he has all his stuff cataloged on Spotify, whereas I have an iTunes, and I heftily collect CDs. You know, it's not a lost art. I don't think it's ever going to go out of style, really, especially with vinyls being back and all that good stuff. In my collection, I have a shit ton of CDs. I have some cassettes like Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion that my girlfriend's dad gave me, which was really, really amazing. That is like probably one of my favorite gifts I've ever received from someone I dated was that. But in terms of my iTunes, and along with like obviously illegally pirating stuff, because who the hell doesn't do it? Admit it, you've done it once in your life or still do
Especially
it to this day.
back in the day.
Especially
That was,
back,
like,
yeah.
some of the well, not the only way to get music, but the only way to do it for free.
Yeah.
You didn't have the options of Spotify or Apple Music. Or
Yeah, we
anything like
didn't
that.
have any of those options, and even like when YouTube first came out, that was at like the height of like piracy becoming a huge thing, and you know I pirated a shit ton of stuff, and I have no regrets about it at all.
One of the
But-
biggest things that, sorry to get off topic,
Oh,
but
it's
one of
all
the
good.
biggest things that like I feel like the like younger generation won't understand is like
the struggle
the struggle
Mm-hmm.
of literally slowly killing your computer with LimeWire
LimeWire?
or FrostWire or whatever just to get free music.
And the funny part is when you thought you were getting some free music, you got some weird fucked up shit with it. So
Yeah, whether it
it's
be like
stuff that I can't
weird
even name.
weird anime porn or just
The one time
a bunch of crazy shit or just literally just files that were literally just viruses.
Yeah, and the one time I downloaded a compilation record of I don't even know what the fuck it was. It was around like 2006. Got LimeWire download, and then you know I pop it on. There's like a video there, and I'm like, I wonder what the hell this is. And I click on this video, and it's some girl like getting boned by a dog, and I was like, okay. I saw it and I'm like, I am stripping the audio and I am deleting anything, etc. that I do not want. And that video went, as you can imagine, for many reasons.
Or a bunch of fucking write-offs.
Yeah, so the kids would not know the struggle about that. The kids will also not know the struggle of CD players.
There's a lot
Set
of
players.
there's a lot of struggles that today's kids
Kids will never know, which it's for the better, but it was something worth experiencing. It's like
It's
when
kind of
Game
weird
Shark.
for me to say it because I'm kind of technically part of the new generation, but I don't consider myself that. I mean, I was born in '99, but I'm definitely like way more mature for my age than any other 20-year-old that I know.
And I was born in
But
1991, so as you can imagine, I grew up learning the damn computer.
yeah,
I was the last generation that actually fully did things to the root, and then computers fully came into schools, and I was like, whoa, that's cool.
yeah,
But my iTunes at this point, which I gotta say, iTunes in itself is incredible how that even happened. And if you guys don't know, I'd definitely go and check out documentaries. But my iTunes currently has, I believe, like 37 gigabytes of music, and my iPod only holds up to 30. So I have to probably time to upgrade my iPod or something, because I love my jams. Other than that, I'm always jamming on SiriusXM. Great service, especially if you're a music junkie like we are. Really great service, and if you're driving in the car, there's nothing quite like SiriusXM for the choices you have. I've been jamming to a lot of interesting stuff as of late. There's a lot of albums that are very anticipated this year for many bands, which we'll get into that soon. Currently, I've been jamming to Andy Black, which for a lot of people that aren't familiar with the movement currently happening, basically the emo scene is back, and it is 2019. And now you're starting to see, yeah, like literally, when I went through the original emo era, I didn't do any of that. I just kind of fell in there because of the way I dress and always have. But people were clamoring for the rebirth, and now you have like Fall in Reverse. You got even like the new Sum 41. It's very like the lyrics are very in depth, and they're very emotional. Get Scared. I just listened to their new album, The Dead Days. Fucking great album, especially if anybody's ever heard of them. Kind of underrated rock band of Furious Records. But yeah, then Andy Black tops a lot of it with emo, so it's kind of cool seeing that back. And honestly, music anymore, there is a scene for everything. Doesn't matter if we're talking NWA, Tupac. Doesn't matter if we're talking about holograms like Ronnie James Dio performing and Tupac. It seems like there's about something for everybody, I'd say, in today's world. So that's my recent things that I've been jamming to. And other than that, like Asking Alexandria, Emotionless and White, who is from Scran, which is really cool. So they got a new album coming out June 7th. Gonna be good.
Yeah.
So how about you, sir?
In terms of like newer music, the only things I've really listened to was stuff that I didn't really like all that much, and that was the new Disturbed album and the new.
Oh, I had the undying pleasure of hearing that horrible album.
Why the hell can I think of it? Bring Me the Horizon album, which I didn't really like either.
That was also a horrible album. Yeah,
The only song I really liked off of the new Bring Me the Horizon album was Mantra or whatever. But
so another on those two albums in general. So, Disturbed for me at this point, they're a cookie cutter band. Because it's blatantly obvious on this new record. They recycle. Everything is recycled. Seems like they went off of the success of that cover, and they're like, let's make half an album of ballads. And and then the other stuff was just, even Are You Ready? I was just like, nah, I don't think I'm ready for this. But, they put out an album.
Decent song on the album for me, and even then
was Are You Ready? Yeah, that was the only song I could remotely listen to, and even then I was like, wow, this is Disturbed. But they're doing whatever they're doing. Hopefully the next album is more of what people want.
Yeah. More like back to the roots of Disturbed.
Yeah, like at least something of like bridging Asylum and Immortalized, somewhere in between there would be cool.
Yeah.
Now Bring Me the Horizon, well, that band is a complete sellout. Because, I still like their music as a band.
I didn't even listen to that whole album all the way through, but, like, half the songs were this weird, like, EDM, like, house music bullshit. And I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, and in no way am I totally just calling them a sellout band and that's it. I like their music since they became a sellout band. That's the spirit. That's the Spirit is a pretty good album. It just sounds like it's Godsmack meets Alice in Chains. I don't know what happened, but it was an interesting record. So when they came out with Ammo and Mantra started playing, I'm like, okay, it sounds cool. It's different, but I like the groove of Mantra. So I'm like, oh, let's go check the album out. And wow, it was a horrible choice. Yeah, like he said, it's basically just like it's just EDM remixed music with scratched up vocals and auto tune.
So weird. So weird.
And it blows my mind because Oli Stykes actually literally like ruptured his vocal cord singing new material. I'm like, wow, must be hard to do an auto tune, right? But on the record itself, I really liked Mantra. Wonderful Life is a pretty good song. Medicine is pretty good. And then there's the Limp Bizkit Reject song that was pretty good. Other than that, yeah, it was like, ooh. But yeah, other than that, there's still like in between all like crap like that's out there. There are some really good records that are there and that are coming out.
Yeah, outside of that, I haven't been listening to really anything new. Like I said, I go through that. I just put my hodgepodge playlist on shuffle and just whatever comes up, I listen to it.
I'm like always, I don't know. I'm like always into like modern music, no matter what. I mean, obviously the oldies and the classics and everything have their own place. Never will be forgotten. But you always got to keep familiar with more like new stuff as it comes out. But
Yeah.
and then there's that, and then there's stuff that doesn't stick, like Disturbed, like with Evolution, which I call de-evolution. And
I think that sucks. Is
yeah.
like I really like Disturbed. Like they're one of my favorite bands, or at least one of my favorite current bands. But this new album was just
It was a dark spot.
there's not even like a single song on that album that I love. Like usually, no matter like especially with a lot of my favorite bands, I'll save like an entire album just straight, and like because I love all the songs.
Straight binge.
But like I didn't even save one song from the Disturbed album.
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance, the past two Breaking Benjamin albums, I saved the entire thing, top to bottom.
No, there's some good shit. I mean, technically, Ember is about, I believe it's a year old. I think it came out in April last year. I think, but
yeah,
Ember is a damn good album. Honestly, I think that could arguably be their best work yet. And what's funny is no one originally from the band is in it besides Ben.
Yeah.
So that's pretty crazy. Five Finger Death Punch kind of made a comeback after all the crap that they've been through. That new album was actually pretty decent.
I actually didn't get a chance to listen to that one.
It's actually it's pretty listenable in terms of like kind of their old stuff to what they became, and it was like a shit show. But I'm glad they started getting it together and put out some good stuff for the fans. There's a lot of good stuff coming out this year from like Slipknot. We were talking about a few other ones like that. Tool has a new album coming out, and 2 new songs are out now, which is Descending and Invisible, I think.
If you want, you could probably just like list off.
Yeah, I'm gonna list at this point. I'm gonna list off a few other ones that I left out. Hell Yeah has a new album this year. I'd highly recommend 333. That is their current one. New singles coming out from them soon. And the thing with the Hell Yeah album is it's the first album without Vinnie Paul, but Vinnie Paul recorded the drums before he died. So it's a very sentimental album. I can't wait to hear that. Lamb of God has a new album coming out this year. Sturm Drag was a pretty good one, so I can't wait. Korn has a brand new album coming out this year, and that's going to be something. So he's going to be Korn. Megadeth has an album that is apparently really hardcore.
Nice.
Into the Roots, so that's always good to hear. Rob Zombie has a new record coming out.
Nice.
This is like the year for records to come out. Of course, there's Slipknot. They have a new record coming out, and I'm not sure when this podcast will fully go up, but on the 17th, they are performing for their first live performance of the new album cycle on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Nice.
So that means we'll see the new masks. Almost totally bumped that mic stand with excitement. Let's see who else we got here. We got Deftones. I'm not too into Deftones, but they've always been good. Red Hot Chili Peppers. Need I say more? Fucking great band. It's crazy. Like 311 had, like even bands from way back when are putting out records. Like 311.
I've never really gone into 311, but I still can appreciate them putting out an album.
Yeah, exactly right.
I'm sure it'll be good for the 311 fans.
Exactly. Then there is arguably one of the biggest ones, which is AC/DC. The record is a tribute to Malcolm, and the big rumor on the street is, besides the original band being back together, like Phil Rudd and everybody out of jail, they're going to be doing a tour, which this arguably might be the final AC/DC tour. So I need to get my ass out to a stadium and I need to see them. But
Yeah.
the new record is apparently going to be a tribute to Malcolm, where they use his last recorded guitar parts, even though he died like 3 years ago. So that's a pretty big deal. Alter Bridge has a new album coming out.
Nice.
Gonna be crazy. Angels and Airwaves has a new album. Now, Killswitch Engage has a new album. That's a name that not many people have heard in terms of modern music.
Yeah.
Anthrax.
We saw Anthrax at Rock Allegiance.
Yes.
What year was that? 2017? 2016?
Yep, and then we saw Killswitch live too.
Yeah,
Asking Alexandria apparently has a new record coming out this year.
Nice.
That is going to be very, very interesting because their last album was incredible for the reunion with Danny. Here's an interesting one. So As I Lay Dying has a new record coming out.
Nice.
Most likely this year. Avenged Sevenfold, but that's going to be 2020.
Yeah,
but hopefully we get new
2020.
music this year. Bad Wolves will probably have a new album in 2020. Their last album was 2018. Blink-182 will have a new album, but at this point, unless Tom joins the band, I don't think many people care. With Matt, it sounds pretty good. It's just not the same at all. So,
what was the last album Blink put out?
the last album Blink-182 put out was California, and then and here's the weird part, they put out a deluxe version that's a whole new album, and it's better than California. It's like what people wanted from California. Like Parking Lot is a good single. That's a pretty good one from the deluxe album.
I'm probably misremembering. Was California the album that had Bored to Death on it?
Yes. No? That was the album that had Bored to Death, Rabbit Hole. There's a few notable singles from that record that were pretty good. And then the deluxe album, I was like, listen to it. I'm like, this is what I wanted from California. And I had to wait another year to get it. Like, what? So.
Yeah, Bored to Death was played a lot on like the mainstream radio stations, like not like just the rock stations. Like it was kind of broke into the mainstream a little bit. And then I know...
Yeah, and then it just died. Like, no one heard of Blink-182, and then all of a sudden, they announced a tour of Lil Wayne, which I think is
I remember hearing about that.
that is a horrendous idea. They must be drinking scissor.
And then the only other time I remember hearing that song around was in Forza Horizon 3, I believe, on one of the radio stations.
Oh, shit, dude.
But, yeah.
But, yeah, and, of course, I'm pretty sure Nickelback is rumored to have a new album this year. There's a lot of bands that are coming out of the woodwork. Like Nickelback is apparently back, or 2020. Theory of a Dead Man. There's a lot of albums that are really scratching the surface, and then you look at like festivals and how that's going, and how Warped Tour ended last year, and this year is like that anniversary pop-up date thing. So it's changing a lot with the landscape of music.
Was last year's Warped Tour supposed to be the last?
The last cross country.
Oh, all right.
This year is only like random pop-ups, and for some reason they have a pop-up at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it's like, who would buy tickets to that? There's like 4 bands playing. It's like, wow, yeah, that's Warped Tour. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with festivals and all that stuff. Like,
no,
who knows? But I don't know, in terms of music, what else you want to dig into, just so we're not, I guess, spinning our wheels on one topic for like 30 minutes and all that good stuff.
I guess while we're on the topic of music, I guess we kind of spew out into like concert memories and stuff, if you would want to do that.
Oh my God. Man, I've had so many concert memories. There's a lot of them I can't actually say on the podcast for many reasons. But one of them happened at Guns N' Roses, which I will not tell the story due to the nature of what the hell happened. And the Metallica one was incredible. I became known as Chain Boy.
Chain Boy. That's such a fucking funny story. All right. So...
This one is a fucking good one, because you're probably wondering what in God's fucking name did you do that we call chain boy? It sounds like I'm like literally killing people with my chain or something, but nothing like that either. Nothing in the slightest.
So
you'd be amazed.
when we went to go see Metallica at Lincoln Financial Field, it was myself, JP, and our buddy Tyler. Of course, you guys would know him from the WWE series. So we went to go see Metallica at Lincoln Financial Field. JP has his wallet with the chain attached or whatever.
And it's just your average like 12-inch chain, basic grade, not even like a biker chain or anything like that.
Keep in mind, we had to park like at least like a half a mile, 3/4 mile away from the stadium.
Yeah, we parked
the stadium entrance.
We parked at the other far side of the baseball field that is right by Lincoln Financial, but at the same time we had to walk past a lot of the people that were like prom was happening that night at this like auditorium space there, and then there's the field, and then there's the baseball stadium. So we were like, we got a really good deal on our parking spot, but considering the circumstances, we did pretty fucking good.
But so we walked all this way. We're standing in these long ass lines, and then we finally get up to go through the metal detectors and get into the stadium.
And in no way did they state anything about what was restricted in terms of chains and whatever. They said obviously firearms, knives, but
the obvious stuff.
The obvious stuff was there, but they did not disclose chains of any kind, and all they said was biker chains, and that's like 25 inches, like that's double the size. Yeah. And
so we get up to the metal detectors, and they stop JP and they pull him aside, and they say about his chain. Keep in mind, me and Tyler are already inside the stadium.
They're already inside.
We're waiting for JP to get through, and we don't know like what they're saying to you. So I guess if you want, you could kind of explain that. But basically, they wanted you to take off the chain, and I know, like,
it's a pain.
You were going back and forth because obviously you didn't want to walk back to the car like half a fucking mile.
Yeah, and I was like, well, you guys didn't state this on your event info, and on the stadium it's not there. And what they said to me was, oh, well, we found out last night at the Metallica security briefing. I'm like, well, I wasn't at the Metallica security briefing, so if I was, I would have met the band, but I wasn't there, so that's not my problem. And they're like, well, sir, you could go reserve a lockbox. And I'm like, so you're telling me you want me to reserve a lockbox for my chain? And then this is where it all started. So they told me to walk to the white tents, and this is where I met the guy that would iconize me as Chain Boy. So it sounds like I'm being baptized or something. And then this is what led me to my new finding in life. Well, I get there, and then I'm telling him about the stories. He's like, yeah, I feel you, man. I don't know why they don't update this kind of shit. It's kind of like a know-how, but he's like, yeah, Metallica doesn't want any chains. And he goes, yeah, I know it's pretty fucking stupid because this is Metallica. I'm like, yeah, I know. And he's like, well, here's what I'll do for you, kiddo. He's like, we have our own little box as employees in case we drop our belongings and stuff. So give me your chain, and then I'll just put it in my lockbox, Chain Boy. That sound pretty good? I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. He's like, all right, Chain Boy, you got a deal. I'm like, so basically it is stored there until like the end of the show, and like he'll explain probably like the in-depth concert thing, but like at the very end of the show, it was great because I'm like wandering. There's fucking people just everywhere. You know, like the maniacs want to escape the stadium after shows. You guys know,
after sporting events, concerts, what have you,
people were just everywhere. Yeah. Like no one knew what the hell they were doing. And prom let out. Yeah. So it was like
there was
double.
Also prom letting out like literally right next door.
Yeah, it was like double fuckage essentially. And I'm just trying to find these tents. Eventually I found it. I'm waiting for this guy, and he comes by, and it's great because I think we were like standing the opposite way, and he came from behind us, right? Or me or something like that.
I think there was an exit right next to the tents. Yeah. Me and Tyler went out it, and we were just standing there waiting for you, and you went in the tents.
Yeah, I went in the tents.
And as soon as we walk in, all we hear is like loud as fuck, clear as day. And even though there's like a bunch of other people, just talking around us, walking past us, all you hear is,
"Hey, yo, Chain Boy!
Chain Boy!" And me and Tyler start fucking laughing our asses off.
It was just great looking at this guy. I just turned, I look, he's like, Chain boy.
And he fucking screamed it like at the top of his lungs.
He's like, chain boy.
And he like had this weird. I don't know if he had a southern accent normally, because I didn't talk to the guy before.
He had an accent.
Chain boy.
Chain boy.
And so like the whole walk back to the car, me and Tyler were just like,
Chain
that
boy.
fucking chain boy out there.
And then of course, you know, we speaking of music, we took Spoon Man from Soundgarden.
Yeah, there was a bunch of different
Chain
songs.
Boy.
There was a bunch of different songs that we kept making up like Chain Boy parodies of on the way home and shit.
It was great. So that changed life in itself. I was known as Chain Boy.
And whenever we go to like sporting events and stuff with JP, we're always like, Chain Boy, you better not bring your chain with you this time.
Which is funny because, okay, here's something hilarious. So it ties in. It's at a wrestling event though. So we decided to go.
Not a concert, but still.
It's still an experience at a live event. So we go to SmackDown later that year, and I left my chain in the car and everything, right? So then I get to the front, and apparently they changed the rules where it's like I couldn't bring in. What was it at SmackDown that I couldn't get in with?
I think it was your chain.
What, wasn't my chain?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Never mind. Okay, yeah. So
because I'm pretty sure we were telling you when we got to the parking lot, we were like, JP, just make it easier on yourself. Just leave the chain here. And you're like, no, Mohegan Sun.
Yeah. This makes sense. Yeah, Mohegan Sun's usually very chill, right? So this is like when they first started reforming the rules and the clear bag rule, and of course no one said anything about this either. And they're like, you can't bring that in. It's like, you gotta be shitting me, man. So from this point on, I just don't bring my wallet into any event that you need to go through security, because chances are they will not let you in for some dumb reason. Yeah, so I learned my lesson.
I just remember the worst part about it was like pouring down rain, and we were standing in line to get through the doors.
Yeah, I took the line ride.
And then they stopped JP, and then he. And of course Tyler drove up there, so then Tyler had to come with you to open his car for you to put the chain back in the car.
Yep. And
then come back and then stand in line again in the rain.
Oh my god. Yeah, that was Chain Boy. And there was quite a few other like experiences that I had. Like, okay, here's something very interesting. So me and Tyler, who you guys know of course, we went to go see Motley Crue on the final tour. And we're one of the lucky few that got to see the legs of the tour. So we got to see the outdoor fairground cycle of the tour, and then we got to see the arena end of the tour. So nothing remotely happened at the fairground one. It was incredible. It was at Allentown's Fair. So here we are. It is the final tour, and it will be the last time we ever see Motley Crue, and I damn well know. We both know this. So it is in Hershey. It's a giant center. We get in there. Everything is going so damn good, right? And then as soon as Motley Crue starts playing, and I forget what song it was. It was either Wild Side, probably was Wild Side. And literally what happened was these random people, I swear they must have been on drugs or drunk or something. So these people randomly come up to us and they say like, "Hey, these are our seats." And at that point, I'm like, these aren't your fucking seats.
Yeah.
So basically, it starts getting heated, and then I'm sitting there, I'm like, I could totally deck this guy right now, but I don't want to miss Motley Crue. So I'm like, okay, so we played it cool, and immediately after that, we got event staff, and they had to, like, literally kick these guys out of the fucking seats and show them where their seats are. Like, they would not admit they had the... Yeah, they were in the wrong section over or something like that. And a few rows down, and I'm like, your section's right there. Like, no, our seats are here. I'm like, your seats are not fucking here. Like, it was at the point where it was either I decked this guy and got kicked out of the venue, or we just played it safe and got event staff and did that. Other than that, the Motley Crue thing was funny. And then ironically, when we were leaving the venue that night, these guys were crossing in front of our car. And Vermin's like, you could just run them over. I'm like, I could run them over. You're not wrong. But then I'm like, nah. But yeah, that was one of like the more so heated ones, just because obviously, like, really, you're gonna try fighting me over your seats at a Motley Crue concert, like,
especially because
on the final tour. Like, really,
they were in the wrong.
They were completely in the wrong, and of course they couldn't admit it, and they got embarrassed. But yeah, it was interesting.
One of the funnier concert memories for me is when you and I went to Rock Allegiance. I think it was 2016 or 2017. I don't remember. I think it was 2016.
Yeah, 2016.
But
oh my god, I know exactly where this story is going. There were so many funny moments at that concert.
It was like the beginning of September. It's hot as balls outside, like 90 degrees. And just randomly, like, different times in the crowd, we just see people dressed up in, like, full-on costumes. And notably, there was someone dressed up as Santa Claus, like, full-on beard, hat, coat.
And this guy is standing in the middle of the pit. With the sun on him and everything. And this guy was just losing his shit. It was incredible. Like, AAA concert experience. And... should I say the part with Slayer?
Oh yeah, and then
the
other, there was another person. I don't know if they were together with the guy dressed up as Santa or if it was just a complete coincidence. There was someone dressed up also as Jesus, like Jesus Christ, the religious figure, and we were just like, what the fuck is going on? And he was in the pit too.
Yeah, he was. Well, literally, we got a nice photo of him because he was just glancing like this. He was just, like, horning the crowd, and then I'm just like, and on the third day, the Lord said, let there be fucking Slayer!
We literally laughed about that for, like, a good fucking 5-10 minutes while we were just sitting in the stands, fucking laughing about that. I'm pretty sure you made that a caption on your Instagram, and you posted the picture of it.
Mm-hmm.
But...
I did. I could imagine if I went back and found that fucking photo. Oh my god, it's just... Oh, at moments like that, just they make a concert, and for some reason they have never gone back to the Talon Stadium. Like, they had so many noise complaints, and that stadium was perfect. The parking was not the best, but
still
the stadium was great, and yeah, for what it was worth. Oh my god, yeah.
I mean, the only thing that sucked about it was they had the two stages which were right next to each other in, like, the actual arena.
Yeah, it was.
But then there was one, like, there was another stage
stages
that was, like, out in the parking lot somewhere.
Yeah, so
if you wanted to go see those bands, you would have had to walk out of the arena and go stand in the parking lot to watch them, and then come back in the arena.
Yeah, and the thing is, you bought a GA ticket, so if you wanted to keep your amazing seats, if you walked out, you're screwed, and you lose your seats, and you got to go find someone else's seats, and yeah, that was crazy.
Granted, as far as I remember, I don't really remember the lineup, but I think the only band that we were only interested in seeing was, like, Pierce the Veil and someone else that was out on that stage.
That was about it there, and that was a good show.
So it wasn't really worth leaving to possibly get our seats taken, because we had pretty damn good seats.
And that was about a month before Avenged Sevenfold dropped the stage out of the blue.
Yeah.
That was a pretty pivotal point in music history for that, and we got to see Ghost rise to fame even more. I think you became a fan of Ghost that day, right?
Yeah.
That was cool. Speaking of which, I do have a Guns N' Roses experience I can actually talk about. So, this is interesting. So, this happened in 2017. This is my second time seeing them on the Not in This Lifetime tour. I've never seen Guns N' Roses until the reunion, thank God, because Chinese Democracy is cool, but it's not as good as Use Your or Lose Your Appetite. So, the thing with this one was, me and my friend John, we were, like, absolutely partying in the parking lots, and we were, like, literally down, like, a bottle of Jack, and did some other stuff, and, then we were drinking a shit ton of beer, and next thing you know, we're, like, sitting there fucking tailgating with the car next to us, and we're literally another 12-pack in just between me and him, and then we're like, okay, I think it's time to walk to the stadium.
Oh, God.
And we handled it so well. I felt pretty good. John was pretty toasted, but he had a damn good time. But it plays into what happens next. So
I remember this part of the story.
So what happens is, so John has sunglasses for reasons I will not state in this podcast, for many reasons, but he has his glasses on, and we had to walk about half a mile to get to the stadium, because Hershey Park Stadium, where you park, you go up and you go around, and then you hit the top of the peak where the stadium's at. A really good venue. I'd highly recommend going there if you have a chance. So as we're going up about like more than halfway, these people from PA Live, they stopped us, and that's one
of the local news stations.
And this is it's a local news station, and it's a huge thing. And they stopped us, and since it was the 30th anniversary of Appetite for Destruction, which ironically was about, I'd say probably about a month. I'd say probably like before that concert. I think it was a month, and. Yeah, essentially what happened from there was we got on the news for a bunch of shit, and I was amazed. And you could honestly go find it right now if you type in Guns N' Roses Hershey, Pennsylvania, you'll see PA Live, and it'll say like Guns N' Roses fans at Hershey Park Stadium or something. And I am the thumbnail. I am the main feature of every single part of the interview, and it ends off with me, and I was like, whoa. But fucking great time. They, asking from favorite album, member, reasons, all that stuff. And when John was getting his interview, he could have been featured more in it. It's just what happened was like people were so fucking drunk. I was like, there's no way you're gonna even make it to the fucking concert venue, which is like a quarter mile away, let alone survive the show. It's 3 hours. And there was this one drunk ass woman, and she was just like fucking she was all over just the camera end and just chilling like by John. She's like, whoa, Guns N' Roses, whoa, yeah, hi Axel. So she was just going nuts, and like John had some pretty good answers, but they could only show like certain parts of it because like there were these like really drunk ass people just partying around this interview spot. And when then John got in the interview for a few things that were just like close above him, but like those people know how to fucking party, man. I had a great time, and of course John was staying for a few days, so the party continued for like 3 days, and I had a blast at that concert. But I think being on the news really made it, because I did not expect to just walk up to the concert venue after partying so hard, and the next thing I know I'm on like almost live TV. It's like, wow, okay, cool. So that was one of my favorite concert experiences, just because Guns N' Roses and all the shit that happened. It was good.
Another one of my favorite things from the Metallica concert was
the part where you were going, Avenged Sevenfold?
Yeah.
Yo, one of Tyler's friends got so pissed at you because they thought you didn't know. Yo, he knows they're not performing tonight, right? It's like, yeah, he knows. We know.
So, for the Metallica concert, it was supposed to be Metallica, Avenged Sevenfold, and Volbeat was supposed to open for them. Well, like early in the morning of the concert, Avenged Sevenfold had to cancel because their guitarist, his wife went into labor unexpected. So he had to fly home, be with her. Of course, circumstances completely understand. And, we're glad everything's okay with, the baby and everything.
It's just weird how there was not a backup guitarist, though.
I mean,
that's the only weird part that they're heavily criticized for, because a lot of bands do that. But this was not one of those cases, but everything's A-okay, and that's how the show went.
Regardless, we were there. And our buddy Tyler, I don't remember if it was, he did a couple of videos that he was posting on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, where it was like, oh, we just got in the venue, we're waiting for Volbeat to come on, and I just thought it would be funny just to do it once, just to like see if he would like get mad and stop recording or whatever. I just like shoved my head in front of Tyler like this, and I was like, well, yeah, we're waiting for Sevenfold. No.
Yeah, and it was just funny because
he didn't even really care that I did it the first time, so I kept doing it because I wanted to see if he would get mad or if he would still post it, or if he would decide to re-record it.
It became such a funny moment, and he posted these things
and he was posting them, so he thought it was hilarious. But so there was 3 or 4 different videos of that night where it was like, all right, Volbeat just got done, it was awesome, now we're waiting for it. I'd be like, Sevenfold.
It's just scream, Sevenfold.
And then you could just hear me in the background going, Sevenfold. And then Tyler would look at me fake all pissed off and be like, now we're waiting for it. I'd be like, Sevenfold. And I would just keep cutting him off.
And that DJ Mike guy was trying to like control the crowd, and that
Yeah.
that was the worst bombshell I've ever seen. But he tried.
But so Tyler kept making these videos, and I just kept like just inserting myself, cutting him off, yelling Avenged Sevenfold, stuff like that. And then I remember
One of the comments on like the last
his
video, it was like
commented, he was like, doesn't he know that Avenged Sevenfold isn't playing tonight? Like, why does he keep saying about Avenged Sevenfold or whatever? And I think Tyler explained to him that it was just a joke or whatever.
yeah, the person just.
But he got like unnecessarily pissed off about it.
Unnecessarily offended. That's the whole world.
And I was like, okay, whatever. But those videos are fucking hilarious.
Okay, so this is a very interesting story about Warped Tour, and this was, well, 2011's Warped Tour was absolutely insane and my favorite one by far. There wasn't too many crazy experiences that happened there. It was just the bands and all that. But what happened was the year after, this was insane because, well, you know, Montage Mountain.
Yeah.
So the lawn for Montage at this point. Oh my god, it's just, oh, holy shit. This story is, it's cool because it reminds me of like Woodstock with Mudfest and shit like that. But like, all hell broke loose, and the storms that were coming that day were way worse than expected. And next thing you know, it was like emergency shit, and it was a real big deal. And literally, we're just like having a good time. Then all of a sudden, everyone had to get into the pavilion, and then like all the fucking rain was coming down, and it was so bad that like a stage fucking collapsed and killed somebody.
Jeez.
Like dude, everything was getting fucked up, and I'm just under the pavilion after seeing the stages collapse and shit, and you know I'm under there just chilling, hanging with people. And they have no idea what the hell is going on. And to this day, I don't think they even knew. They were just trying to reschedule bands ASAP. And next thing you know, like the schedule was clusterfucked. And they were having the schedule out on paper. But of course, it's raining, so the paper became pulp within a matter of 5 minutes. So that happened. And then when the rain was going on, everybody decided to like start throwing mud at each other. And people were like fucking running down the hill and sliding on their fucking bellies and shit. And people were just covered in goddamn mud. It was insane. It was like a new version of Woodstock. I was like, wow. And yeah, you name it, from electrical issues and shit. That concert was like one of the craziest ones, just because of how fortunate the weather impacted it. And then that year I got to see Bring Me the Horizon. I believe that was the set where people were like throwing trash in the air before the set even began. And like I got to see people just get carried out in stretchers. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is insane. This is when Bring Me the Horizon was a real band and not a sellout band. But yeah, that was an offhanded experience that I'm glad I got to experience. That Warped Tour was a shit show though. Then there was a Shepherd of Fire tour. I don't know if anything really too crazy. Oh, wow, there was one crazy thing that happened. If you want to explain that, remember the one dude that was trashed beyond belief when we got in the venue. If you want to explain that, we went to see Avenged Sevenfold with Hell Yeah, and I don't even know who was Hell Yeah, Avenged Sevenfold, and Adrenaline Mob, and
I think was Seven Dust there too, or no?
No, I don't
I
think
thought they
so.
were. I don't remember.
I know Hell Yeah was there, and Adrenaline Mob was there, and I think there was some other band, but that's there. It really means nothing to that, because this story, when we first walked in, was hilarious.
So we first walk in the venue, we're like, all right, we'll just
gonna hit the bathroom.
Yeah, because at this point we had run a little bit late, and so Hell Yeah was already on.
Yeah,
you could hear them.
They just started actually at this point.
And so we just did a quick run to the bathroom, and then we were gonna go run to our seats. And I remember, like,
I can't even believe
the first or second stall. As soon as you walk in the bathroom, it's
these
2 or 3 dudes crowded around this open stall, with this dude laying like halfway outside the stall, and his friends are like, I don't remember the dude's name, but it's like, Dan, what are you doing? Like, what are you gonna do? And the dude laying on the ground is like, oh, I gotta go see Avenged Sevenfold.
And like,
and
honestly,
his friends are like, but you can't even stand.
They're like, dude, you're fucking wasted. And he's like, I don't give a shit.
He's like, I don't give a shit. He's like, I paid money and I'm gonna go fucking see him.
Yo, this guy was like the MVP. Like he was trash.
Could not stand.
And he still wanted to go.
I paid good money for this. I'm gonna go see him. I highly doubt he ever even moved from that spot all night. He probably fucking passed out there.
Honestly,
But-
he may have gotten sober enough by the time Avenge came on. Maybe. But this guy was fucking wrecked to the point where I don't even know how he got in the venue.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
how
wondering.
he got in a venue like that.
I'm kind of wondering how he made it into this venue, and it's just funny because everybody's walking, and you see this shit show in stall number 2, and everyone's like, "Huh, all right."
Yeah, nobody's batting an eye at it.
They're just like, "Huh, whatever, fuck it." And oh my god, it was just like, what the flying fuck? And actually, you know what? Speaking of Warped Tour 2011, it just hit me. Me and Steven got to witness something absolutely insane at that Warped Tour that year. If you guys want, I don't know if they have the Scranton, PA date of it, but they did this at every fucking date. Asking Alexandria was AWOL at that point. Like, Danny was a fucking stone cold alcoholic. Everybody was just on drugs. It was, like, insane. So they're playing the show, Raising Hell. And, like, Danny's, basically saying for all the girls to show them their, and all that stuff. So it was just anarchy. Like literally girls were just, like, topless. There was, like, booze everywhere. People were going fucking nuts and having a good time. There was this one dude next to me. And it's more of a time-lapse thing. This dude next to me had 2 librettes, like I have, except I have spikes. He had balls. And then he had a nose ring, and he had a little septum ring and all this shit.
Oh, God.
So this guy's like, yeah, man, I'm going to go fucking wild. I'm going to punch someone in the face. I'm like, hey, man, whatever the fuck you want to do, because this is the point where they didn't have any rules practically.
Yeah.
I know Warped Tour in the later years, they had all the fucking rules on the stage. So this guy's going nuts. I just see this guy fucking, like, slinging fists in the pit and, like, fighting people. I'm like, wow, this is fucking insane. Like, what can happen now? And then there comes the point, not only when Danny wants everybody to get on the ground and everybody goes fucking nuts when they jump up in the air, but he started a wall of death. And me and Steve were just witnessing this whole thing, and Steve's just like, oh shit, man. Like, Steve was just like, oh fuck, man, this is insane. And at this point, it was, like, incredibly hostile in the crowd. Like, everybody was going fucking mad for this. It was a great show, great set, and you can totally YouTube this, I'm sure, and just find equally as hell-raising, whatever the hell you want to call it, from them. So it comes to the point where the wall of death happens, and, like, he's just calling out people in the crowd, like, calling them cocky motherfuckers and everything. Like, literally, Danny did not give a flying fuck. Like, he was just blatantly like, dude, we're gonna kill someone right now. He's like, are you pussies ready? It took like 2 times to get a solid wall. He's like, all right, so we know what a wall is, right? And, like, if there was anyone out of line of this wall, he'd be like, hey, you, pencil neck fuck, sit down. He would just start calling people out. So when this wall of death finally happened, I have never seen people more, I don't know, like, more spot on in their minds to raise hell. Because when they hit, like, you felt this, and some guy, like, backflipped into the wall of death right in front of me. I'm like, wow, holy shit. And by the end of this set, like, literally you should have seen, like, the trash all over the place and, like, blood on the ground. I was like, wow. And I saw this guy from before, and here he is, he's, like, busted open, fucking missing his goddamn septum ring, his nose ring's gone. I'm like, what the fuck happened?
God damn.
He's like, yeah, I'm like, yo, man, you alright? He's like, I'll be okay. I'm like, alright. And that was probably my crazy experience from that Warped Tour. Other than that, I got to touch Hayley Williams' hand from Paramore. It was their first date on the tour in 2011.
Nice.
And
nice.
I crowd surfed for the first time and probably the only time in my life. I ate shit on the concrete, but I knew how to take a bump, so it's all good. My phone at the time, which was a Voyager, fucking exploded. And that was the point in time where your phone was the phone, the battery, and the back seal case.
Oh, yeah.
So in the crowd, I had to put the phone back together.
That's another thing that
Kids will never understand.
today's kids will never understand the struggle. That's a nice way to bring this podcast full circle.
And when, literally when you dropped your phone, man, sorry about that, kids, but your battery fell the fuck out, and if you didn't find that battery, you were fucked.
Yep.
So I put my phone back together, and I went from the very back of this giant fucking thing, and I made it about 75% of the way there, and then I went down. And ironically, I am not sure how the hell this worked, but I randomly friended somebody on Facebook at the time that had photos from Warped Tour, and they took snapshots of me going down in the crowd. They took it. It was me up, going, and they just saw my Etnies shoes at the time, and I was like, oh my god, you captured my fall. So that was funny. And then I got up and I crowd surfed and I got to touch Haley Williams' hand and I nearly died. And that was cool. Lie.
When you were telling the story of the person capturing your fall, at first I thought you meant like they were so preoccupied taking the picture that's why you fell, and that one of the pictures was like your fucking face like pressed against the phone's camera or something.
Just me like So that was funny. I'm trying to think. I'm sure there's more concert experiences. I just don't know. With details,
I don't think I really have anymore, but I've only been to like 4 or 5 I've been to like 5 or 6 concerts.
Yo, how about this? What was your first concert?
Shepherd Fire Tour.
Fuck yeah, that's a good start. You want to know what my first concert was?
Yeah.
Motley Crue. Fest 2. Got to see Motley Crue, and I actually got to be more familiarized with their song catalog because for some fucking reason, Kickstart My Heart sounded like Kickstart My Car. I don't know. I was young and fucking dumb. The year was like 2008, by the way. Oh no, 2009. Yeah. So, yeah, that was when I was getting more familiarized with the song titles and shit, but I knew Motley Crue. It was a fun fucking show, because on that show, Crue Fest, you had Charm City Devils, you had Trapped, you had Godsmack, Theory of a Dead Man. Crue Fest, I wish they would bring Crue Fest back. Like 6 a.m. was on Crue Fest 1, so they didn't perform on Crue Fest 2, but still a good fucking show. On the side stage, they had that one band that has that one song that's like, give me a little champagne, champagne, give me a little cocaine, cocaine. All that shit.
Yeah, I know.
And then it ends with, and then the chorus ends with like, we're throw, and it just goes. I don't know what band that was. It was a Flash in the Pan band, but they were there with a bunch of other bands on a side stage. It was a fun time. I have never seen people that drunk in my fucking life until obviously Guns N' Roses happened. Literally, one of my memories from Crue Fest 2 is at the merch table, they were selling what I thought was a beer mug, right? This is, random thing that says like Motley Crue, and it looked like a beer glass. Well, what I didn't know was it said it was Motley Crue shots. And this fucking cup that, essentially just a normal cup of this height, literally every mark on this for one shot was 3 shots. I was like, holy fucking shit. It was like 4 shots to get a quarter of the thing. And then like it had a scale of who you were in Motley Crue, and I was like, wow. I'm like, that's a challenge I do not want to take. And obviously it said recommended with Jack Daniels. It said like Motley Crue, the dirt approved and shit. I was like, holy fuck. Yeah, that was my exposure to rock and metal culture at a concert, and yeah, it was pretty fucking cool.
Nice.
But yeah, hey, Shepherd Fire Tour though, for your first concert, I gotta admit, you got to see one guy fucking plastered. There was no difference between him and the fucking wall of the arena, man. He was plastered.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
God, he was fucking drunk.
That was fucking awesome though, to see my favorite band as my first concert. I couldn't ask for anything better, really. And that concert was fucking awesome.
Yo, right? That was fucking cool. That was you, me, Jordan, and Tyler, right?
Yeah, just like the stage setup that they had,
the fire effects
and everything,
great.
and like all the pyro and everything. That was awesome.
That was the first concert that I bought tickets side stage for, by the way. So it has a historical reference, and that opened my eyes.
Those seats were actually really good.
That opened my eyes about buying side stage seats, because I usually buy seats looking straight at the fucking stage. And when you're on side stage, I mean, you're kind of right there.
Yeah.
It's just you can't see the full thing right in front of you. And Damn, man, I gotta admit, when they started blasting the fire, like I can't even believe the drummer survived the fire blast. They were right behind his ass.
The coolest thing
essentially.
was like how you could feel like the
You
heat
feel the
coming off
fucking
of it.
heat. I really liked the intro they did on that tour. That
was
was
awesome.
with the Shepherd of Fire thing, how
Yeah.
it slowly lit the stage in the rings
and it
of
would, like,
fire.
slowly go
It
around,
was
and then,
it was cool. It was like Dante's Inferno with like the different rings of hell. It started lighting certain parts of the stage in the circle. I was like, wow.
and then once the drums
cool.
came in, is like when the flames like,
And the
fully
flames
came up.
like fucking started rising up. I was like, wow, this is fucking cool. Rock and roll. And we'll have to go see Avenged Sevenfold again in concert sometime soon.
yeah.
We'll have to see
I'm
what
sure
Rock
they'll be going on
Allegiance.
tour to promote their new album. So
Exactly. We got to see that tour, and who knows, maybe meet them or see what the fuck happens. But yeah, then there's Rock Allegiance this year, so yeah, there's a lot of concerts coming up.
I know Breaking Ben's coming around this summer, and
Oh, with Chevelle, Diamante.
I really wanted to go just because I wanted to hear the songs off Ember. Because by the time we saw them in January of last year,
They weren't playing any
They didn't-
new songs at that time.
they didn't play any of them, but they did have like 3 singles out from Ember, and I wish we would have heard some of them. But now that Ember's out, I want to go just to hear some of those songs. But
Exactly. And speaking of concerts, May 16th I'm going to see Andy Black with Brie. June 4th I'm
nice.
going to see MGK with her. August 24th we're seeing Slipknot together. There's Rock Allegiance, and yeah, there was a few tours I wanted to go to that are coming anywhere near us, like Atreyu and Emotionless and White. That was going to be one. I'm going to see Mudfest on May 24th, which is the one I was asking about a little bit ago, that has Puddle of Mud, Saliva, Trap, Save and Able, and Tantric.
nice.
So if you want to see that, those tickets are like $35, but that's going to be cool. So Puddle of Mud is back. They have a new album that is coming out. And West is pretty much clean, so I think they're back in swing now. Because Puddle of Mud used to be one of the biggest fucking rock bands until they hit rock bottom. But yeah, other than that, man, hey, rock and roll. That's what it's all about. Man. That's what it's all about.
But with that being said, guys, let us know, what some of your favorite music is, music you're looking forward to, any tours you're going on, any concert memories, anything like that.
Hell yeah, we want to hear
Let us know down in the comments below. And if you guys didn't know, this has been the HPJP Show. Of course, this is the show where myself and JP bring random topics of discussion for your amusement. You can get it every other Saturday at noon Eastern on youtube.com/HexxedPhenom, or you can get it on podcast services around the globe, places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, really any place you get your podcasts. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the HPJP Show. And until next time, have a phenomenal day.